It's almost the season of sales. Time to start listing your house. Next month, as we all know, is the most popular time of the year for it. It's the dream of so many people, a home to call your own. But what if your dream house is somebody else's dream too? About to turn your home sweet home into a nightmare.
That is exactly what happened to young couple Jerry and Janice. With a young child and a baby on the way, little pranks at first, but then real danger. Strangers showing up, someone out for revenge against them, playing real estate roulette with their lives. Here's Chris Conley.
Before it turned terrifying at the suburban house in sunny San Diego.
Every week something was happening, something else was happening.
You have no idea who it could be.
Someone was trying to rape my wife.
It's scary.
Before this young couple took note of every act against them. Before they took desperate measures to protect themselves from spikes on the fence.
It's always on our mind.
That stuff never goes away. To self-defense instruction.
I would kind of think about like the escape route.
Before all that, in the fall of 2011, Jerry Rice, a former competitive swimmer, was teaching special ed classes for kids with autism. Wife Janice Reuter was a microbiologist at a children's hospital. They had one child and another very much on the way.
Right here.
How big out to here were you at the time?
Pretty big out. Yeah. I was about, what, 8, 9 months, I think.
They'd been saving for a house, and thanks to friend and real estate agent Renee Milton, they got one. This one-story house in a peaceful cul-de-sac.
It's a wonderful place where everyone pretty much knows each other. People in the morning go for walks, they take their dogs out, they skip by the park on their way to school.
At $779,000, the house scraped the top of their range, but...
It was amazing. It was like, what? This is ours? We were going to raise our family in the house, and we're going to start.
Really soon.
Yep.
A home is a big deal. To purchase a home is a huge deal.
Excited for the imminent arrival of daughter Avery, Jerry says he barely noticed the unusual note that would be a kind of introduction to their nightmare, a note that came to the house in their first month here.
It's basically said that someone was willing to offer up to $100,000 to buy our home from us.
$100,000 above the price that you'd paid for it.
I threw it in a cupboard. Our daughter was overdue.
Only then, something a little creepy. The house turned up again for sale on the real estate site Zillow under an obviously fake realtor's name, Jacques Arce.
Jerry called me one day and asked me if I had listed their home on Zillow for sale. I couldn't understand who would take a home that we purchased and put it online.
That was the start of an escalating harassment campaign. Next, $1,000 in bills for bladder control products and magazine subscriptions arrived. The mail stopped entirely. There was an online ad for a New Year's Eve party at their home. Tame stuff? Maybe. But the Rices got the ominous big picture. Someone was targeting them and wanted them out.
Who was it that wanted them out of this house so bad? And was it just one person? Someone was trying to harass them to where they would leave this property.
Next, an attempt to get the Rices' neighbors angry with them. A Valentine's Day card, the ideal way to share a little love with that special someone. Only Paul Abel, one of the Rices' neighbors, didn't see it quite that way because the card was sent to his wife, Tanya.
Wait a minute, Paul, it wasn't from you?
It wasn't from me.
What did the Valentine's Day card say, Tanya?
It said, "Love, Jerry Rice."
Paul hadn't even met Jerry yet.
Yeah.
He decided to change that in a hurry.
He got mad, went right out the door and went and knocked on their door. He's not the jealous type, but he left the house in 5 minutes.
Fast. Here's this guy that I have a beautiful wife. She's mine. And who is he sending her a Valentine card?
In fact, Valentine's Day cards purportedly signed by Jerry had been sent to every wife in the cul-de-sac.
You know, it's the same thing I said to everyone. I'm really sorry we're getting harassed by someone. Someone obviously hates us.
But who was the hater? With 2 children to protect, Jerry and Janice would never forget the jolt of fear they felt as a cop gave it to them straight.
He said whoever was doing it was probably pretty sick. They were probably watching. And that sent chills down my back. Having the police officer tell me that, you know, we need to watch out for our children.
It's scary. We were very suspicious of everyone.
Jerry sprang into action. He locked the mailbox and set up surveillance.
We didn't know who was messing with us, and they could be coming up to our front door. So we put up security cameras.
This gate offered extra security, but week by week their sense of siege worsened. What next? Who was watching? It all haunted Jerry.
He became very distant and really focused on trying to protect our family. He would be up a lot during the night.
Check all the locks around the house, and then check on the kids.
What was it like one of those nights when you just sort of ask yourself, why is this happening to us?
Janice asked that a lot. Why is this happening to us? And I was more concerned of who was doing this and where they were going to attack us next.
They turned to cops as they braced for the next attack, never imagining how shocking it would be.
This is your picture, and these are the words underneath it. Carmel Valley Freak Show. Come see me during the day while my husband is at work, and we can get our freak on.
You know, my stomach dropped. I was like, oh, okay, now my photo's on there. That's very personal.
And your home address, where your children live.
Right.
Then, while at work, Jerry got an urgent message from the police.
To come back to the house because they had some information to share with us, and they wanted me there with Janice.
Men had responded to that online ad and been in touch with someone pretending to be Janice. This is what one of them had been told.
Just stop by any Monday, Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I like the element of surprise. Someone pretending to be you.
Right.
Did it occur to you at that moment how much danger?
Oh, yeah.
Now with a new threat from the stalker known as the Watcher, who's been haunting the owners of the New Jersey home, sent a new letter as well. Their lawyer says this one is more sinister than the others. Gio Benitez on the scene in Westfield, New Jersey. Good morning, Gio.
George, good morning to you. This city has been called one of the safest in America, but still the owners of that house say they're too afraid to move in. So right now, the big mystery, who is writing those letters? This morning, a new reported letter from the so-called Westfield Watcher, a mysterious figure allegedly stalking this $1.3 million home in a tiny neighborhood in New Jersey. The home's current owners, too afraid to reveal their identities or the address, say this 6-bedroom house was once their dream home. But as soon as they bought it, they say they started receiving menacing letters like this. All of the windows and doors allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. And I watch and wait for the day the young blood will be mine again. After receiving the threatening letters, the owners say they felt too scared to move in, so they opted to rent out the home instead. But less than 3 weeks after their tenant moved in last month, a 4th letter arrived. Court documents say it contains specific threats and is more derogatory and sinister than any of the others.
It's a great house. This is a total tragedy and nightmare for my clients.
The whole story is similar to the plot of the 2011 film Dream House.
Everybody who lives in this house gets killed.
I was shocked. I've lived here my whole life, so yeah, it was a pretty big shocker.
Last year, the owners applied for permits to demolish the house and build 2 new ones on the land, something the town rejected, but the family is fighting in court. In this newest letter, the Watcher allegedly tells the owners not to follow through with their plan. And this has allegedly been going on now for 3 years, and police still haven't named any suspect. But the family is now suing the previous owners, saying they knew the Watcher existed, but never said anything.
They didn't reveal it. But what's going on with the renters who are living there now?
Well, you know what? The local newspaper spoke to someone they believe is the renter, and that person said, not my issue.
When a New Jersey family moved into a new home, they began receiving disturbing letters from someone who called themselves the Watcher. Now, after years of torment, that family is finally speaking out.
This is the now infamous Watcher House at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. The stately 3,900 square foot home boasting 6 bedrooms, 4 baths, and one very disturbing mystery that kept the Broaddus family from ever moving in. Just 3 days after buying the nearly $1.4 million home in 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus say they began receiving threatening letters from someone who identified themselves as the Watcher, the anonymous writer who claimed to keep a close eye on the house, referring to the couple's 3 small children as young blood in a series of menacing messages. The Broadduses opened up for the first time about the terrorizing ordeal to New York Magazine's Reeves Wiedemann.
The first time I read the letters, I got goosebumps. I've never seen anything like it outside of kind of a horror movie or a Stephen King novel.
In one of the letters, the Broadduses say the Watcher wrote, "My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Why are you here? I will find out." The Watcher seemingly taunting the Broadduses, who tell New York Magazine they lived in fear and became obsessed with trying to figure out who wrote the letters. Derek Broaddus says, "I was a depressed wreck."
They hired a number of experts. They hired a former FBI agent to try to create a profile. They hired a private investigator to kind of look around the neighborhood.
The family ultimately moved in with Maria Broaddus's parents before deciding to put 657 Boulevard back on the market. The house never sold, becoming a local urban legend. The identity of the Watcher still unknown.
We all have our theories, high school kids, who knows?
The cryptic correspondent striking one last time in February 2017. The Broadduses say a renter received a letter listing various forms of revenge, along with the message, "You are despised by the house," and the Watcher won. Some have speculated the Broadduses could have sent the letters to themselves as a hoax. The couple rejecting that theory, telling New York Magazine, "The ordeal is like cancer. We think about it every day."
We're going to turn now to that major development involving a home we have reported on here before and the disturbing letters sent to the family who bought it. The family bought their dream home in New Jersey, never moving in after getting frightening letters from someone calling themselves the Watcher. Now the family has finally found someone, I got everyone's attention here. Someone's going to buy that house. Gio Benitez is here with more. Hey, Gio.
Hey, David, good morning. Yeah, for years, so many thought nobody would buy this house because of all that negative publicity with those threatening letters. But this morning, we know the family has finally gotten rid of it by taking a major financial loss. This morning, ABC News has learned the New Jersey family, allegedly terrorized by creepy letters from someone named The Watcher, has finally sold the house that started their nightmare. Derek and Maria Broaddus bought this idyllic home in Westfield, New Jersey for $1.3 million back in 2014. But they say a stranger kept them from moving in by sending letters like this. "I watch and wait for the day the young blood will be mine again. And I pass by many times a day. You know I will be watching."
I've lived here my whole life, so yeah, it was a pretty big shocker.
Now, 5 years later, the family's selling the property that they've never lived in, that has haunted them for years, taking a loss, selling it for $400,000 less than they paid for it. We spoke with their attorney in the midst of their ordeal.
It's a great house. This is a total tragedy and nightmare for my clients.
The Watcher's letters describing anger about renovations to the home and detailing the movements of the family and their kids. One letter saying, "All of the windows and doors allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house."
From day one, they've been trying to solve this case. They hired a forensic linguist to take a look at the letters and see if there were any patterns. They scoured the internet looking for clues.
But despite years of investigations, and while authorities did discover some DNA evidence, they never found enough to charge a suspect.
Our police department conducted an exhaustive investigation. Such efforts have not, however, yielded information leading to charges being filed.
In an interview with New York Magazine last year, Derek comparing the ordeal to cancer, saying, "We think about it every day."
They wanted to get rid of the house because they knew it was going to be this burden. They knew they weren't going to move in. From there, the next thing they want more than anything is to know who did this.
And we're told the family still lives in Westfield after staying with family a few blocks away from the Watcher house. Now they've bought a new home, and they hope this one brings them peace of mind. But what an ordeal.
We don't know anything about the new owners.
No, not yet.
Hopefully they're not watching.
Yeah.
We want to keep them in that home.
I'm sure they had full disclosure. At least I hope they did. All right, thank you so much, Gio.
This home is at the center of a spine-tingling mystery. A stalker known as the Watcher terrorized the homeowners with a series of chilling letters. "You have children. I have seen them," the Watcher wrote. "Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me.
Your house is my obsession, and now you are too."
Now their disturbing story is being told in the Netflix drama series The Watcher, starring Naomi Watts. In real life, Derek and Maria Broaddus bought the house in Westfield, New Jersey for $1.3 million. The first Watcher letter, addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Broaddus, arrived 3 days later. Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in.
It's a beautiful house. It absolutely is. I think it's everyone's dream house.
Attorney Lee Levitt represented the Broaddus family, who sued the previous homeowners for allegedly failing to tell them about the existence of the Watcher when they sold the house. The case was dismissed.
You're moving into your dream home and you start getting these threatening letters from someone saying they're watching you and then asking for young blood. I think that's very scary.
Can you keep us safe?
Unlike the Netflix drama, the Broaddus family never moved in. They were just too frightened.
This is the notorious Watcher house today. As you can see, it's decorated for Halloween. The search for the elusive Watcher turned neighbor against neighbor in this idyllic town of upscale homes. Some investigators believe the Watcher must live nearby. Others wondered whether the homeowners themselves were engineering an elaborate hoax.
I can tell you unequivocally that is not true. They did not write these letters.
After 5 years of disappointment, the Broaddus family finally managed to sell the notorious Watcher house for $959,000, a loss of $400,000. The Watcher has never been identified. The final letter declared the Watcher won.